The next one is going to be the worst in my lifetime. And I say that not as an alarmist, but in 2008, we had a serious problem because of too much debt. Since 2008, Keith, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere.
So the question is that kind of default will probably, I cannot see that happening in the US. However, the value of the money is certainly going to continue to decline. As I said, the British pound went down 80% against the value of the US dollar, which replaced it as the world's reserve currency.
We've had 3 central banks in American history. The first 2 disappeared for a variety of reasons. In my view, this one's going to disappear too because they're making so many mistakes. It's astonishing who these guys are. They all are bureaucrats and academics. They don't know the world, and they think that they can save their jobs by printing money and driving interest rates to the lowest in world history. It's not going to work. It's going to end badly. But the worst part of it is, Gareth, you and I and many other people are going to suffer because these guys think they know what they're doing.
Lower interest rates more and more to get us out of the next crash. And the question is, well, where is the next place to go? I mean, what's the ultimate outcome? Do we just have a total collapse and have to start from scratch again?
Gareth, interest rates are the lowest they've been in world history. The U.S. can go a little bit lower. They're not zero yet, but in much of the world, they are zero or even below zero. So we're coming to the end of this game. Yes, they can keep trying. Yes, they can buy more bonds. They can print money and buy bonds. The Japanese are doing that. The head of the Bank of Japan goes to work every day. He's a good Japanese bureaucrat, prints money as fast as he can. In his words, unlimited. I will print unlimited amounts of money. And he buys stocks and ETFs and bonds. Yeah, we haven't gotten quite to that stage yet in the US, but we can. But we're sure getting close to the end.
So the question is that kind of default will probably, I cannot see that happening in the US. However, the value of the money is certainly going to continue to decline. As I said, the British pound went down 80% against the value of the US dollar, which replaced it as the world's reserve currency. I'm sure that the value of the US dollar is going to continue to decline. Everybody watching this knows that a dollar is not what it used to be. It depends on whether you're buying bread or gasoline or anything. It's not the same, and it continues to decline. And they're not on your side, Elliot. I told you, they want to keep their jobs.
Right.
I don't like saying any of this, Elliot, by the way, except for the fact that I'm old. It's good to be old. It's good to be an old American in 2021. It's not good to be a young American in 2021.
Well, it did create some inflation. Governments have a tendency and an incentive to lie about inflation for obvious reasons. In the U.S., for instance, many expenses are tied to the rate of inflation. So if the government can say inflation is down, they don't have to pay as much. As I say, maybe you don't go shopping or didn't. Anyway, inflation did come back, and a lot of it went into financial markets around the world. Bonds are at the highest level in recorded history. Stocks are booming in the U.S. and most parts of the world. So the money did go somewhere. Some of it went into price increases. Now more of it's going into price increases. I would suspect we're going to see more inflation, but who knows? By the way, it doesn't go up every month when you have inflation. It doesn't go up every week, but over a period of years, you see price increases, serious price increases. All money is going to be on the internet eventually. In China it already. You cannot take a taxi in China with money. You cannot buy an ice cream with money in China. Everything is already on the computer, and most other countries are working towards that end. Yes, governments love it. It's cheaper, it's easier. They love, and they have complete control. Going to be government money. Governments don't like to lose control. They don't like losing monopoly. I don't think when the U.S. says, okay, this is U.S. money now, I don't think the U.S. is going to say, but if you want to use something else, you can use that money if you want to. It's not the way those guys think.
Well, maybe governments want this to happen. I don't think governments pay that much attention to gold and silver. They're not smart enough to pay that much attention to gold and silver. A lot of people I know have made a lot of money in cryptocurrency. I mean, I wish I'd bought Bitcoin. Went from $1 to 50,000, 50, 60,000. You know, I wish I'd bought it. Of course, it's 40,000 today, but still, if I'd bought it at $10, I'd be quite happy right now.
Fed, the central bank, will raise interest rates a little bit. They will tell us that it's good, it's a sign of a strong economy, and that we should be pleased. But eventually, the market's going to take over and take control away from the Federal Reserve, and the market will raise interest rates higher and higher because the market's going to say, listen, guys, we know what's going on. We've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. And the market will take interest rates away from the Fed, take control away from the Fed. And that's when the problems get very serious. And that's when we have a recession again. But Keith, I want to remind you, we've had recessions since the beginning of time all over the world, and we will again. Even if some politicians say, don't worry, never again will we have a recession. They've got Ivy League educations, but don't believe them. Don't believe them. I assure you, we will have recessions again. And Keith, the next one is going to be the worst in my lifetime. And I say that not as an alarmist, but in 2008, we had a serious problem because of too much debt. Since 2008, Keith, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere. Even China, which had virtually no debt 20 years ago, now has lots of debt and will have bankruptcies. So don't think it's not coming back, and don't think it's not going to affect a lot of people. They go higher. The known reserves of oil are in decline. That's been going on for years. We came up with fracking, which turned into a bubble. If you could spell fracking, people would write you a check. Now they realize, oh, they have to pay their bills. They have to make money. Fracking's not going away, but in the meantime, known reserves continue to decline. I mean, I own oil energy. I'm not selling it yet because I know that when supply declines, you can have a bull market even if demand goes down. If you have time, let me tell you about lead. Lead used to be in paint and gasoline, and they eliminated it. No more lead in paint, no more lead in gasoline. Well, you think would lead disappear? At a huge bull market because there was no supply. Yes, the demand went down in some areas, but supply disappeared, so we had a big bull market. And back to the previous conversation, you know, I don't know if the renminbi, the Chinese money, is going to replace the dollar. It's a huge economy, not gigantic debts like we have, but who knows? Who knows? It takes a while. It's not a convertible currency now, so it cannot be the world's medium of exchange or, you know, reserve currency. But they say they're working towards that.
Went down 80% against the value of the US dollar, which replaced it as the world's reserve currency.
Governments don't like to lose control. They don't like losing monopoly. I don't think when the US says, okay, this is US money now. Since 2008, Keith, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere. Even China, which had virtually no debt 20 years ago,